Among today's chic right-wingers in Brazil, the highest virtue is cowardice. Never say anything the media hasn't already agreed with. Never cite Olavo de Carvalho while repeating what he was saying 10 years ago. Above all, practice moderation to the point where you don't seem more right-wing than is compatible with admiration for the great figures of international leftism, especially Barack Hussein Obama. And Nelson Mandela? Don't even get me started. After all, who better embodies the ideals of the Zé-lite than a communist sold out to the Rockefellers? Only Lula could top that, honored in the same week in both Davos and Havana for his miraculous conversion to capitalism and his unshakable loyalty to communism. If you can't manage to say at least 15 sweet words about this great man, you're simply not respectable enough to join the ranks of Brazil's respectable right-wingers. If you ever criticize one of Frei Beto's ideas, be sure to call him my dear friend. The media will then unanimously crown you the perfect right-winger. After all, only brutish minds, perhaps reincarnations of the infamous Dr. Fleury, could imagine that communists might have bad intentions. Be sure to tell your readers and listeners that the only difference between left and right is the preference for state intervention or free markets. And when a communist shows up praising free trade, like Karl Marx and Lenin did in their day, though you probably didn't know that, be sure to commend them for being an enlightened leftist, open to modernity. And don't forget that golden nugget. If you weren't a communist at 18, you have no heart. By trotting out this gem, you'll prove your superior moderation and balance, splitting the world neatly in two and granting communism the monopoly on moral virtue, while capitalism keeps the prize for economic efficiency. If you can, throw in a quote from Bernard de Mandeville's Fable of the Bees, or some little something from Ayn Rand to back it up. Above all, remain blissfully unaware that, by doing this, you are the billionth person to sanctify the metaphysical abyss between the ideal and the real, which Karl Marx had already identified as a staple of bourgeois thought a century and a half ago. In short, be a bourgeois, think like a bourgeois, speak like a bourgeois, be that standard adversary the left never has to worry about. Oh, and one more thing. When you talk about the Workers' Party PT, be sure to call it Jurassic. That one's a must. The first person to call the left Jurassic was Roberto Campos back in the 1970s. At that time, it was a stroke of genius. Among my modest literary achievements, I take pride in never having copied that expression. But there are folks who, when they use it today, feel a surge of original stylistic brilliance, and their readers sincerely believe that this is the most devastating argument against the PT. Use it repeatedly, and you'll earn a spot on the advisory board of some liberal organization. When someone shows you clear signs of Gramscian hegemony in universities or show business, shrug it off as paranoia, since you'll find plenty of similar signs in the US, a country where, as everyone knows, there are no communists. After all, didn't ex or future President Lula already teach us that there's nothing more anti-communist than American cinema? If you hear talk of the Muslim invasion of the West, respond with the calm, superior airs of an Olympian sage, saying that none of this exists, that Islamic terrorism is nothing but cultural backwardness and religious fundamentalism, things that have long been surpassed in our world of scientific and technological progress. And if some wise guy reminds you that back in 2002 you swore the PT's victory was impossible, or that you once denied the existence of the São Paulo Forum, or that you claimed the PT FARC connection was a fabrication of dictatorship apologists, or that you once believed Barack Hussein Obama was the salvation of the United States, or that the idea of Russia invading neighboring countries always struck you as the delusion of Cold War nostalgics, and that, in short, you've never gotten a single political prediction or analysis right throughout your miserable life. Well, just do what all your peers do. Say, what comes from below doesn't touch me, and carry on, an unshakable colossus, practicing in front of the mirror that splendid appearance of normality, maturity, and balance that has been the secret to your success in life.